The universal law of cause and effect states that for every effect, there's a definite cause. In turn, for every cause, there's a definite effect. Your thoughts, behaviors, and actions create specific effects that manifest and create your life as you know it today. You're tuning into the Cause and Effect podcast, where we discuss society and culture the best way we know how.
All right, we're back with Season 1, Episode 2 of the Cause and Effect podcast. We're discussing programming. Our previous episode, we spoke about our childhood programming. Today, we talk about how that transforms into toxic traits and becomes a part of our programming. Now, if we look at the definition of toxic, the word, right? It says it is poisonous. Poison. Very harmful, unpleasant, pervasive, insidious, etc., right? Nasty is not good for you, right? And if we say traits is a distinguishing quality as of personal character. Curiosity is one of her noble traits. That's an example, right? So put both words together. Toxic traits. You have something poisonous that is a part of your character. Mm-hmm. So if we link that back to childhood programming, what are some of the things that become toxic in our life? Maybe from example or observation of or something you've seen from me, someone you know, just observation of somebody else. An optic where you realize that some of the things that we're programmed become toxic. Because again, they always start with the good intention. Yeah. I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to, help you from making the same mistakes I made, etc. But then how does that affect us to where now it becomes toxic and just annoying and it sets us back in relationships, friendships, businesses, in all shapes and forms. Like for me, I'll start it off. It was very hard for me to accept compliments. And if I look back at it, right, some of the programming or some of the things that I was taught or I heard, apart from the money situation in my household, was there would be jokes about, oh, stupid, or, este tipo es loco, este tipo es bruto. Like, you hear things that aren't words of encouragement.
And
right?
they don't mean wrong, too. Because,
it's, again,
in Spanish household, to them,
yeah.
they be joking and saying the
tough,
meanest things. Tough love.
Tough love.
Tough
yeah.
love.
Real tough love, like, that's another way of some shells that we get. Yeah, like, este estúpido. And they don't, it's hard to champion the things that you do right. Yeah. It's easier to joke on the things you do wrong, right? So when I would do something right and somebody would acknowledge it, I would kind of just be like, he's just saying that. Like, I don't know how to accept that. I become awkward. I become, like, suspicious of you. I'll even think, like, yo, what is this person trying to gain from that? Because I'll think it comes from, like, a side of anything but genuine. Yeah. So, for me, how I never was able to connect the dots on that. And today, as I go to therapy, as I seek information, as I listen to books or read books, I realized that some of the things that happened early on in my childhood became toxic because X, Y, and Z. So for me, it was not being able to believe in what people saw in me. And that comes, I think, more rooted in, if we look deeper into it, not believing in myself and my potential or any of the things that I'm able to contribute to somebody's life or my own life.
Because you probably never had nobody believe in you, maybe.
You never heard, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real heavy, like, it's a simple thing to say to somebody, but it carries so much weight. Yeah. For somebody that you look up to or somebody that you look for or you look to make proud, never be able to tell you, I'm proud of you, I love you, because they weren't taught that and they didn't know that was needed for them. Yeah. Or maybe they made it seem like it did, like they never connect the dots that's maybe something that they needed in their life. So for me, I love my parents. Yeah. I love, the family I grew in, and I was able to be blessed with. But I'm also able to be real with myself and say, damn, this really did affect me. It's never to make anybody feel less of or that they could have done better. It's more of just taking it as it is and saying,
Yeah.
this is my life. This was what was given to me.
Mm-hmm.
This is my experience. And if I take anything from it, I can take the good and the bad. And the bad was this, and the third.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for me, again, not hearing those words of encouragement. And I guess when somebody tries to encourage me, it doesn't seem real because I never got it from the person that I wanted to get it the most from. You know, so have you guys ever felt like that, or have something like that maybe triggers you in your life and it became toxic?
I would say for me, it was primarily. What are we doing?
No, go ahead.
What the heck was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, okay. Well, to me, primarily was, you know, like I was talking about before in a previous episode. I mentioned how coming over here from the Dominican Republic, you know, affected me tremendously in the sense of how I express myself and just that whole culture shock period in and of itself. You know, and there's certain programming as well, as we mentioned before, that we program ourselves in many cases. I program myself to block out certain things, and it's a defense mechanism. You know, for the most part.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
For the most part, I did that because, you know, it's a defense mechanism because that's all I knew. Like, I'm like, if people keep coming in and out of my life, like I mentioned before in the previous episode, from the age of 3 to the age of 10, I was in the Dominican Republic, pretty much, you know, being taken care of by different people, whether it was my aunts or sitters. So having people coming in and out of my life, you know, it built this wall in me because I was like, all right, if people keep coming in and out of my life, that means that nobody's ever permanent. So I was like, what is the point of me trying to open up to you, showing you love and being all of this extra stuff if I'm not, you know, if it's not going to teach us be there always. So, you know, what I did was, you know, build this wall, this huge wall in my mind, in my psyche, and with my emotions that I wasn't going to share too much with anybody. Nobody's going to know me fully. I'm going to let them know what I want them to know. And I try to manipulate every situation to the best of my abilities. You know, I feel like that's also toxic when you try to manipulate everything and try to have control over everything. Like, especially the way people interpret how you are. That's why I figure the more private I am about my life, the less people know about me, the better. That's why that way we don't get too close or whatever the case is, and things like that. It affected my relationships, my friendships, and many areas of my life, things that weren't serving me. That's what it's important, you know, to like you were saying, to pay attention to those things. You know what I mean?
That's
crazy.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
And being able to be mature enough to say, you know, without blaming somebody, because again, it sounds like we're blaming someone for how we are, but it's us being able to just analyze our life and reflect and say, no, this is the cause of this.
Everybody's different too. Like
This
somebody,
is where it came from.
This is where it comes from. It has to have a root. Like this comes from something.
like we could both be put in the same predicament, but I could handle it differently than you would. You know, everybody's different at the end of the day. Our parents, you know, they know what they know, and it's not their fault, and it's not their fault that they don't understand how to express themselves with us because, you know, we are one way, they are one way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So
it's
like I love being able to identify things that brought me to where I am today.
Finding the root cause of it.
Yeah. So when you mentioned that, it's great that you're able to analyze that and say, all right, today I've done enough work in my life to be able to see the effects that this caused.
Yeah.
Get it? Cause and effect. And that's why we did, like, this is a big part of why we do what we are.
Yeah.
I mean, why we do what we do. Is to find the cause and effect of things, pros and cons. So when you identify abandonment, when you identify emotional detachment to something that happened early on in your childhood, it's important because I'm sure there's people that haven't connected those dots. They're living a cycled life. Every year seems the same. They're recycling new people in same experiences. And it's because they haven't identified certain things that draw them to this type of life. Because you know that as much as we run away from pain, if pain is familiar, we feel uncomfortable and we don't have pain, so we always search for pain. Like, don't you ever see the person that self-sabotages himself? Because he feels weird when things are going right, so they find a way to make things go wrong to say, like, all right, this is what I expect life to be because this is all I'm used to, right? So when you're used to seeing different people in and out of your life, what do you think your life is going to be when it comes to friends, family, and all? Like, remember when we couldn't see Rafi unless we called him? Like,
was that guy?
Yeah, nigga, you'll be the guy that if we didn't call you first, we wouldn't hear from you. Because at a certain time, it was like Rafi was just floating.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and we can see the change in that because now Rafi, he pops up.
Mm-hmm.
And even though when you have times where you retreat, and I get it because I do the same. I need
Yeah.
some time alone.
Yeah.
I need a recharge.
Yeah.
I need away from humans.
Mm-hmm.
We still get that. Yo, I'm here.
Mhm.
What's up?
Yeah.
Before it was
Very annoying, but we get it every day.
It was us first, you know, and
That's what I'm here for.
I love it, bro.
That's what I mean.
nigga, I'm active.
I wake up, 30
I'm active.
messages in, it's just Chico.
100. Like
Nah,
my
he's the glue. I'm saying he's the
nigga,
glue.
my mind be on
Yeah, he
100
brings it.
every morning, and
I
it's
love it though.
and I always wake up with what do we need to do different? What do we need? What are things that we have to take action upon now? You know, but you know, digressing to that point that you made is important for the person that's tuning in to catch on to the point that don't let it go over your head. You did the work to get to that
Of course.
realization.
Yeah,
Some of us
it takes
get
time.
frustrated and we're just like, nah, I'm how I am because that's who I
That's
am.
just who I
That's
am,
it.
that's it.
Accept me for who I am. That's
Yeah.
a lazy response. I get
It
you,
is.
but that's a lazy response.
And we see the transition. Well, I seen the transitions. There was times that I can see there was something bothering you.
For me?
Yeah, there was times that I would see something
Keep it
bother
going,
you where
guys.
you
Don't
were
mind me.
where you were like upset or whatever the case was,
Yeah.
and I would ask you, "Oh no, nothing.
Yeah.
No, I got it." Like
Yeah. That,
when you used to live, you know, in the older house when
Yeah.
we were younger, obviously, you know.
yeah, because I
and
mean,
I would see that.
Yeah,
Where it's
yeah.
like we were close, but you still felt like
With
it
everybody,
wasn't.
bro.
It wasn't for you to share.
yeah.
But
It was like I always feel like, you know, I deal with it
I get
myself. You know what I mean? Like I got it myself. Like I going through my own problems. I don't need to share with nobody. I don't need to talk to nobody. Nobody needs to worry about. Like everybody got their own shit. But my mind is like I don't want to burden nobody with my issues or where what's going on with me. So I figured like you either go away or I'll figure it out myself. You know what I mean?
In
So I
my-
was always independent in that sense.
in my selfish mind was like, oh, so we ain't that cool then.
Yeah, because you know what it felt like? It felt like, damn, I do, and I never get the same energy back.
Yeah.
And it's like now something that you posted recently is full circle moment where you feel like you're pouring into people, and if they're not pouring back, that you feel like you need to stop pouring into that because you felt like you spent a lot of time now pouring into people. Right? Is that a little off? Because you posted something on Instagram where it's like you do like you're there for people,
Yeah.
but you also need that back. You need that energy reciprocated back to you.
If I tell you I remember that, I'll be lying. I don't remember that post.
Well,
but
yeah, you did. You definitely did. I
But-
remember it because I was like, oh shit,
I
okay.
need that
Sometimes
post.
Spin some bars.
Sometimes it's like that though. So-
Yeah.
and
I
it-
need that post.
And in general, for everything, every part of your life, man, because if you're feeding something so much, it's gonna drain you, and
Yeah.
it's gonna suck the life out of you. Pause. I don't think I need no pause, but you know.
Por si acaso.
We're here with Chicos.
But yeah, that really, you know, it's so like the energy is supposed to recycle. You know, I give you energy, you give me energy back, and that's how we keep the emotion going and a relationship growing. You know,
But at one point, you were that person that
Yeah.
that took the energy and dipped because you said before you did it, do it to me, I'm gonna do it to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like those are things that become toxic, and then people will call you out on it,
Yeah.
and you feel like, what are you talking
You
about?
feel attacked, or you just
Yeah,
like,
you
you know
feel
what the heck you
attacked.
talking about?
You know, so for many
I'm not like that.
times, not anymore, right?
No, I'm saying like that's one of the answers
okay,
that
that the
you gave.
response is, I'm
Yeah,
not like that.
Who you talking about? That's not me. Like,
And then you start trying to bring up occasions where you were the
Yeah,
opposite of that. No, but you
yeah.
don't remember when I came and you called me, you needed me.
I was here.
Like,
What you talking about?
yeah, as a friend should. Like, what are you talking about? But that's how I felt. Sometimes one thing with me is that I become very distant.
Yeah.
Distant because of I have trust issues. I have I had. I'm gonna speak past tense because I'm getting over those things.
Yeah.
But I had trust issues along with that wall that I'm losing my train of thought. My bad.
No, you good. That happened to me earlier. Remember?
Yeah, I'm gonna catch it right now. What did I speak about? Okay. So yes, I do have or had strong trust issues because apart from not believing when people gave me compliments, at the same time I felt like my trust was taken advantage of at a young age. So that trust issue played a big part growing up.
Yeah.
You know, so anybody that came at me, and that ties into when you gave me a compliment, you told me something good. I'm thinking that you're just telling me that to be able to just fuck me over later, because you're trying to gain my trust, and I'm not giving you that. So it was like this thing where I'm like, stay away.
Why you being so nice?
Why we being so nice? And then I would test people's loyalty. I would
trying to
give
get
them
my guard down. You thought people were trying to get your guard down.
Get
by
my
saying things
guard
like that,
down,
yeah.
and then later on take advantage of me. And the same way, I would go about kind of where I would give you my trust, but I would give you what I wanted you to feel like I gave you, and see what you would do with it, and test your loyalty, and see if you told somebody else what I told you, or if you went and laughed behind my back, and if I heard back from that, I'll be like, you're not somebody I'm fucking with like that, and I would put everybody in their own box. Yeah. But I did that all the time, and it became to the point where it just became very toxic. Because of those things at an early childhood, feeling like the trust was violated, feeling like I didn't get enough of that encouragement from the people I needed it the most. So when other people did it, it didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel important. Yeah. So a mixture of that, what led me to make certain decisions that today could have gone different. Don't regret them. Because at the time I thought I wanted that. But now that I look back at it, I know that it was a strong influence of my defense mechanisms, my traumas, and all the toxic things that I had developed throughout the years. So what is this message that is trying to come out of this conversation is the programming is so important because it shows you all the shit you step on. Like all the shit that you're carrying with you, if something stinks, it's probably you. Sometimes it might be you. It might not be the person that you're pointing the fingers at and blaming. It might be you. Because a lot of the things that we do that's toxic, and I think that, I'm not going to say this is a Latino thing. I'm going to say this is a human thing, that we point the fingers and we don't see that there's three pointing back at us. And we play the blame game. And it's always you, and we never take accountability. I did a post before 2020 ended, and the post was on December 31st. I spoke about people avoiding accountability. And we blame something like 2020. That's just a year. But we don't take account all the things we could have done different. Yeah. Outside of the things we have no control of. Because, again, there's things that we have zero control over. We got to get over that. The difference in the switch changes when you take accountability for what you have control of. Your money, your weight, your happiness, your friends, your experience. It's all a reflection of things that you let happen and sometimes do and recycle because of, again, traumas, toxic childhood programming.
But 2020 was a great cushion for everybody, like a great, an excuse, a great excuse. Like,
no,
but 2020, man, I'm going through my thing right now. So much going on in the world. I can't do this. I can't lose weight.
It was a perfect
The gym is
scapegoat.
closed. I can't work out anymore. Or like,
Nigga, I saw so many people create home gyms.
Yeah.
I saw so many people get in the best shape they've ever had in their life because they said this is a time for me to become like. I felt like Dragon Ball Z where you go into that
time chamber.
Yeah, you go in that time chamber. There was people that took that time away. Got off social media, did the work, came back and said, look, this is the results. Lenny's a good example. Lenny kept growing through his workout and working. He was still driving trucks, tractor trailers at the time. And dude was getting it in, like making sure he worked out, make sure he ate he followed his diet. He made sure that he didn't fall off just because the world was, quote unquote, on pause. Yeah. His life still kept going. His health still mattered. His goals still mattered.
Many people's lives the same way too, It's all perspective.
Yeah. So, we might feel like sometimes we go different in different contexts or different areas with this conversation, but I think that is the only way to go about it because we have so many experiences and so many things that we went through that we can kind of like connect the dots in and say, yo, this led me here. This happened to me, and I'm happy to share it now because it's not an issue to me no more. Yeah, I'm aware of it. Yeah. I can look at that shit in the face and say, you're not me.
You don't govern me
That's
anymore.
not me anymore. So, going to therapy helped me being able to, let out those things that I thought about in my head and just say it out loud and just release myself from that burden.
Yeah.
It's important.
It
so, for me, one, find somebody to confide in. If it's not a therapist, maybe your pastor, maybe a counselor, someone that you feel like you can dump your shit at, and there's no judgment, and there's no pressuring you into trying to, find a fast solution to things, and just letting you sit on that pain, sit on that trauma, and just face it and really let it do what it's supposed to do, which is teach you the lesson that's there in your face.
Like the life you don't want to live. Like if you want to have if you want to have a happy relationship, healthy relationship, you need to realize that certain things about you that need to change. Oh, about myself. I'm talking about myself right now. Certain things about me that need to change. So it's important for us to be aware of that stuff, man. It's important for us to bring light to it, all that. Toxic traits, man. Like people make fun of it nowadays. People make memes about it. People be it's accepted. It's more accepted now than ever. Music
they
is
normalized it being like a thing that we just laugh at. Like you're toxic, I'm toxic. Let's go on a little toxic date.
Yeah, let's be toxic together and all that.
Let's be toxic together.
Yo, you don't know the damage you're doing to yourselves.
Do you think that this is something that gets attached to you by maybe the people you surround yourself, or is this something like I'm talking about maybe family member side? Or is this something that comes through like generations of like through your genes and shit? Like,
what are you talking about?
Oh, you're saying like some of the like how some people say, oh, eso es de, like if you're alcoholic and you're like all your family, all the guys in your family left their family, right? Like all the fathers were not there for their kids. That's like a generational curse type of thing. Or drinking is a habit that we all carry. Like how they try to make it like a disease. Like if you have diabetes, then your son might have it too when he gets older because his father had it. Like I get what you mean. Like is this something that it's just embedded in us because that's who we are, or is that something that's taught? And again, it's 100% for me taught behavior. Nothing is just like you don't just come in here and say, I'm gonna not trust people, because when you're a baby, you most of the time you jump on anybody's arm and you're just loving and accepting. Like you're a loving being when you're born. You're not. It's very rare when you see a kid.
But there's some babies that
there's some like that's
some babies just don't want anything. But
absolutely, I get you. But like and like if we look at the general sense, pop, a lot of us are first love and we're taught other, whether it's hate, fear. And everything else that falls in line with that. But again, I think that love is just nature in us, right? It's natural for us to show openness, love, and affection to people. So again, that comes in layers as you get older and older. They become layers in you, and you just become different people with different humans that you come across with, family and friends. Okay, so what I want to get to is to what you're saying is, some of us, again, we say that that's just who we are. That's how, that's just, you can't change it. And that is the taught behavior too. It's defeat. It's you saying, this is it, there's no changing. Accept it, that's it. It is what it is. I can't, I don't know what to tell that person. Honestly.
I seen some people there and be like, you bugging.
There's people that believe in the fact that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. They believe in they believe in that philosophy. That's like their philosophy. And okay, if that serves you, if that comforts you, there's nothing I can tell you to make you feel or think any different. I'm here to tell you that many things that I thought and that I did and that I still might slip and do are things that today I understand, and I can put a name on each thing. I can identify these things. I can put a label on this and say, this is toxic. This is healthy. This is toxic. This is healthy. And I can separate the two and say which one I'm going to help and which one I'm going to keep. I mean, which one am I going to eliminate and which one I'm going to keep and keep working on and developing new ones. Because the point of this is not to point fingers and make people feel like, no, it's for you to just say, hey, what are my toxic traits?
Yeah.
These guys are open enough to talk about some shit like that. Well, what are some shit that I'm low key hiding that nobody else on Instagram can see because I don't post the real me.
No, that I'm justifying it to be okay when he's really harming me and my relationships. Like you gotta think about it. Like you said, sometimes it's you the one who stinks in the room.
Yeah.
Like if you say like yeah, nice facts. If you're saying like, oh,
You
I don't get
blame
along.
everybody else
I don't
for
get
shit.
along with this person because it is, or I don't get along with that person because of that, or but they all get along with each other, but you're the only one who doesn't get along with nobody. It's like you the problem there, buddy. If everybody
There's
get along and you're
definitely
the
a
only one,
problem there.
yeah.
And maybe it's just your way of. Sometimes I think that people are just hypersensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So again, there's toxic trait in all of us. So everybody has something that just
I think
you
mo-
gotta change.
I think most
and,
of us
and,
could-
and develop.
Most
and
of us could
eliminate.
be, yeah. Most of us could be hypersensitive. Like I think that's the reason why I used to be very defensive, and sometimes I still am when it comes to like showing emotion to somebody, especially because sometimes if it's not reciprocated, you feel neglected, and I felt the neglection. I'm like, oh, like I know that's not how it comes across, but I take it as that because
Yeah.
it's my past. That's what I'm used to. Like if I
Again,
open up,
it triggers you.
yeah, if I open up and then it's not reciprocated how I would expect it to be, I close down again. I'm like, never mind. I bring it back, and it's just like,
And you feel stupid.
yeah,
You're like, damn,
yeah,
I should
like
never,
fuck
I
that
should
shit.
never did that.
yeah, and it's like, but then I've learned to just think about it. Like I'll be more expressive at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Or how it's gonna be expressed in return, if it's gonna be even expressed in return. So it's like express yourself. Like it's good to be. For me, I'm telling that to myself. Like be open, be genuine, not only with the person you're speaking to, but with yourself as well. Whether that person takes it in a way that they like if they respond in a way that it's like that I like, great. If they don't, then it's okay too. At least I put it out there. You know what I mean? It's not just bottled inside of me. That's what I'm trying to say. So pretty much like I'm learning how to be more expressive regardless of how it's received. And then yeah, and it feels good because you're not just keeping all that shit inside or being without what if. You know how many times there's women in my life, man, that I feel like I want to just open up and let them know certain things, but then it's like I don't, and then time goes by and I'm like, damn, what happened? What if I would have let that person know, or express myself not only by words but like with my actions, how I really felt about the person.
How
Like,
different things would have
things
been.
would have been probably maybe, yeah, whatever. It would have been different, maybe, or maybe not.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows at this point, right? But those are reflections
Then
that
again, believe that God has his reasons.
Of
and
course.
there's reasons why. God is not gonna make you. I believe that God is not gonna make you suffer or go through certain things for no reason.
no, it's
As painful and as thing as they might seem at that moment, there's a great reward at the end of the tunnel.
100%.
So,
I agree with that. And
At that moment, you probably felt like that, and maybe now a little bit, but you're starting to see the light now. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay.
sometimes it hits, but sometimes what comforts me about it is like it happened, and I'm looking back at it because I'm supposed to learn from it. Because if I don't want to feel like that again, and I don't want to go through that again, then I gotta do something about it today in order for me to not, you know what I mean? I have to learn from it and be like, okay, if I should have done this, then I'm gonna try what I should have done. Then I'm gonna try it now and see if that works for me. You know what I mean? So I feel like if you look back at your mistakes and you look back at the things that you don't feel comfortable with, and you come up with a solution today, then try it. That's what I do. You know, for the
I
most
agree.
part.
Yeah. Like, again, we're going to find moments. We're going to find things that I'm gonna correct that. We're not going to notice things until we take ourselves out of the picture and just view things from maybe your eyes or the person next to us. And again, the pandemic kind of helped me with that, because I sat down and I was able to look at myself through a different eye. I guess I was able to sit with myself and face myself is what I'm trying to get to. I was able to do that at times where I thought I had the virus and I had to close and quarantine, how they were telling me to do. No contact with anybody in the house. Everything was phone, contactless, leave things in front of my door. There was remember that I was like locked down for 14 days in my room, and those
Like 2
14
weeks.
days, like honestly, like it was like me sitting with me, and as much as distractions that I wanted, to Netflix this and music that and texting you guys on the group chat, there was a lot of time for me with me, and in that moment, I had to have those self conversations with myself of why aren't you in a different position right now? Why are you picking at your weight right now while you're in your room and thinking about this, or at your position with your finances, or in your position with where you're living currently, and what you want to do by the age of 30 and feeling like you don't have enough time. What are all these things? Why? Like, okay, let's backtrack. How do we get here? And there was like that conversation with myself. Like, damn, yo, like, I feel this type of way, or I've done this, or I've been doing this. Well, when is this gonna change? And those are, for me, they were therapeutic.
Yeah.
They were annoying because sometimes you ask yourself, but you know the answer. Like, you know what's right or wrong. Like, it's different when you're a kid, but you know what's right or wrong. You know that this shit isn't gonna benefit you at a certain point. You know that this shit.
You lived long enough to know that.
Yeah, like, all right, dog, come on, cut it out. Yeah. So again, I had all those moments, man.
I believe there's some people that just can't figure it out.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like,
or just don't ask themselves enough.
Don't ask themselves maybe the right questions. But I mean, one of my traits was probably, it's been spotted but never noticed it until a long line of family members, technically.
What do you mean?
So my mother had issues recently with my grandfather about control. My grandfather's driving my grandmother crazy because they're locked down in the house, and he wants to control everything. I have some issues, like everyone else, and one of my traits is control issues. So that's why I asked you earlier. You think that's something that comes from maybe being around your family members?
Yeah, 100%.
Or something like that? Because it's like, bro, something happens wrong, and if something happens and it goes the wrong way, I'm already stressed. Either I have stress or I get anxiety or something because it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to be, or the way that it would benefit me, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
As long as it didn't go the right way, I'm already
even
stressed.
if it still gave you the same results that you're saying,
even if
it just didn't go how you
even if I didn't have the
it.
control of it at all, like if it was completely out of my hands, because a lot of times there's certain things that are just way out of your hands. Like it's gonna happen regardless of what the fuck you do. So it's gonna happen, and it causes so much anxiety. Sometimes, like, it just causes me to even black out on someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, not black out, like like in a crazy way, but like in a wild way. Like, bro, like, you bugging right now. Like, you exaggerating. Like, you're exaggerating over something you don't even have a control over. And it can be a problem for it's been a problem for my relationship with my mom's, or, even my own relationship, or relationship maybe with family members at times, probably. Maybe they never told me, and I'm pretty sure if it was a problem with some of them near me, it had to be a problem with, the
like you acted out in certain ways where they probably said
exactly. Maybe being in a mood or whatever, like changing my mood, period. That happened to me a lot before, where most of the time, people be like, oh, like, you're always cranky, or you're always this, or you're always that. It's just because, like, I don't know, like, I grew up in a way where things had, like, were controlled. And I guess maybe because I seen it from those male in my family, like my uncle, my grandfather, and stuff like that. And since I was looking for a male figure, maybe that's something that I pulled from.
And your mother probably too. Notice. Your mother probably was like that too. So
she had definitely, but not so much, but definitely did. And yeah, man, like, there's times where I have like I have a moment. I'm like, you bugging, like you bugging for saying that. You're bugging for even being angry right now. You can't control that, and you're over-exaggerating. And it's good to catch on that, because I mean it can ruin your relationship. It definitely can, and it could ruin your relationship with even friends and family members. Like,
yeah. So
if you can catch it and notice it and find a way to, like, see what triggers that and kind of stop it, it slows down too. Like, it basically helps you when you're in certain situations that you can't control. I don't know if I answer that last part right. But, because I'm still dealing with it. Yeah, like, it's not, like, completely gone. Like, it's not, like, something that,
I like that, though. You're sharing something that you're currently going through right now, and you're figuring it out. But that's key, though. Yeah. Bringing that to light.
I don't expect, like, whatever we speak on, especially on this episode,
to always have a solution.
Because it's all things that we're currently... It's a podcast. and not only that, but we're currently, like you said, in a place of either building new habits or still trying to eliminate these things. And like you said, just lower those things being so much of an issue
You gotta be hyper aware of them shits
in
too.
our life.
Yeah.
So
The more hyper-aware.
The more aware, the better.
yeah, so number one is awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're becoming aware as we speak. Like we're talking about things and we're taking inventory of our life and we're saying, yo, this is actually toxic. You know what? This is actually toxic. And such and such and this, as we speak, we start connecting the dots because this is, again, therapy.
Yeah.
This is a way to vent. This is a way of being able to just try to connect the dots.
At the end of the day.
There's no other way to just put it into words.
Yeah.
Connect the dots and realign them for in your favor to be able to help you in your life. I look at all these things and say, we're perfect and imperfect human beings. We're designed to be sinners. We're born sinners. Whether you're a religious person or you believe or whatever, we are people that commit sins, and there's not mistakes. There's mistakes and there's sin, right? And my point with that is being, when we talk about toxic traits, when we talk about programming, all those things are wrapped around sin and mistakes. Am I losing you guys?
No.
Because I want to make sure like I don't go completely out of the box. But you know, there is that thin line between both, right? For me, I've been able to identify things that I do that I'm conscious of, so that is a sin, and things that I'm not conscious of are mistakes. So when I don't have knowledge about something, I might make a mistake. But now that I have the knowledge on it, then I'm just committed a sin. It doesn't. You don't have to take that as a religious word. It's just something that doesn't benefit you.
At all.
It's not good for you. It's not. It's just not gonna do anything good for you. You know. So when I'm doing these things and I'm repeating these actions, it's just about me figuring out what is it that is making me and drawing me to that.
Yeah.
So I know them, and I'm still learning new ones.
Yeah.
I'm in a place of
Jealousy is one that's so bad.
Yo,
because
definitely
it can,
back and
dude,
forth.
oh my god.
it's just it's so easy to amplify it too now.
Yeah.
Social media, you
Yeah.
know, you got these standards that people create, that people say, yo, if you're not this, and a third, then you're not popping. So then when you see guys that might fit in that box and you're like, so I'm not that. Or you see artists, or you see these lifestyles that are portrayed online, you also put that on, and you also mix that with all the shit we grew up on. Come on, bro, like
Created a bomb.
yeah, you're gonna create some things that don't look good for you, and that's where anxiety, that's where depression, that's where jealousy, and all those things come also rising up at a higher rate.
All these issues that we think that is normal. People think like, oh, jealousy is normal. If you're not jealous, that means you don't care about your significant other. I'm like, yo,
That is toxic as
that's
fuck.
crazy as hell when you hear that.
That is toxic. Yo, okay. You know, since we're talking about toxic traits, that's a great thing that you just pointed out. I'm gonna make it quick and simple. Telling your son or telling your daughter that a boy hitting you is a way of him expressing interest in you.
Yeah.
In reality, that is setting them up for failure, bro. Like that is a nutty way of explaining love to somebody, because now they're connecting love with maltrato, with you know, physical fuck
pretty much
physical.
I get what you're trying to say.
hitting people like we're hit, like we're being
they're
physical.
identifying love with physical
Mistreatment.
Mistreatment, I guess.
No, not mistreatment. I want to name the word.
Dude. Yes, it's a form.
And also like
No, wait,
using-
because I want to be able to chop this up and
Okay.
get to the point. They you know, telling your son that telling your daughter that the boy that hit you, it was because he liked you or he found interest in you, is a wrong way of introducing love to your daughter and allowing them to connect physical abuse
Physical abuse.
with love. You know what I mean? Like you're wiring that.
Oh my God.
Subconsciously you're wiring that. Yo, you don't hit women. You don't tell your kids that eso es que está enamorado. No. Don't ever hit a female. And when a girl experiences that thing, speak out, tell somebody, and don't be okay with it. Because if you teach that when they're young, they won't allow that in their life.
They gotta express love like that
older.
violently.
But again, we go back to childhood programming. You need you need a male figure. You need somebody as an influence to be able to implement these things and identify these things. Their kids, no. You don't do that.
Yeah.
Because again,
the way you just broke it down is it's like, bro, like, is that why there's certain women that can't get out of toxic relationships? Like, where, like, is it?
No,
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's deeper than that,
but it goes from abuse, bro. It starts at abuse.
Exactly.
You know, just being that little simple thing can create a cycle of abuse because you allow it. It's just that you allow it because you remember somebody saying that that's their way of saying that they like you. It's the same way of you saying that if you're not jealous, then you don't love that person. So now you become this jealous monster, and at a certain point, that shit becomes toxic. Like, yeah, you could be jealous in a sense of, I wanted you to know that, yes, I'm interested in you. Like, yes, I do not want somebody else to take you away. So
there's two different type of jealousy.
Yeah, like
there's
definitely two. There's this toxic monster where anybody and everyone that comes around you is interested in you, and I need to make sure that I put my dick down on this table and say that's mine, right? Right? Like you want to be the man and put your dick down on the table and say, nah, fuck out of here. But then there's the guy that's it's a healthy jealous where you show them that you care about them in a sense where it's hard to be able to just put it like at two extremes, but it's really a balance of saying, babe, who's this? And her saying, oh, you were jealous, and you were able to say, well, I was just making sure, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's not like I'm behind you and every single day I'm giving you the same energy. Yo, who's this? Who's that? You ain't tell me this. You ain't tell me that. Like, that's a different conversation if we get there. But it gets to that point because you allowed it in the beginning, right? So, you know, if we wrap this up and we really just put everything in one perspective, to me, it's identify these things.
Yep. Right?
Identify these things. Put them and separate them from you. Like, because you know how we say, I'm this, I'm that, I'm jealous, I'm ugly, I'm fat.
You're not all of that, none of that.
Take that, put it on the table and say, if I believe that I am fat, how can I change that?
True.
If I believe that, and I know that I'm a jealous type of person, what can I do to improve that? Who do I need to see, and what type of things do I need to create as far as habits in my life to change that?
And watch the things you say to yourself. Like one stream one that I hate. Fuck my life. Yo, I hate when people say that shit. Because it's like you get to a point where you're just repeatedly saying it, and it's just you are what you say. You are what you attract to yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if you be like, oh, like, you never done something and you're like, oh, I'm scared of doing this. Now you're really scared of doing that.
You made that reality. Made that reality.
But yo, that fuck my life word, I hate that shit. I hate when people say that when they fuck up on something or whatever, like, or something go wrong, whatever. Like, you gotta watch out what you say to yourself.
Absolutely.
Like, you gotta watch out what you say to yourself.
And that's, again, unlearning, relearning. Those are things we catch on. We find power in the tongue, and when we manifest these things that we don't want in our life, then we believe in the law of attraction. We believe in the power in our tongue. We believe in, we manifest the things that we speak out. We believe in whatever you focus on, that expands. But if you never have somebody tell you that, you won't be aware of it. So once you're aware of it, then you look at it, say, this has to go. 2021, one by one, this is going to change. 2022 comes, I'm working on the next set. It doesn't have to be on anybody else's time but yours. But you need to start somewhere. You need to say, this is what's wrong, and this is what's going to change moving forward.
That one was key right there. Your time.
It's your time. I can't tell you what that time is going to be. You might listen to this and say, these niggas are talking about some bullshit. Next podcast. Maybe you'll come and revisit us, and we'll welcome you. We can only influence somebody and our culture and push something forward by identifying it, bring it, and saying, hey, this is something that our culture should not accept anymore. Thank you for tuning into the Cause and Effect podcast. Share, subscribe, go on www.causeandeffectpod.com. Check out the merch.